We have been meaning to buy that last polluted Delta from Onslaught, but we won't be buying it because we know that the allied Fetchlands are probably going to get a reprint in Modern Horizons 3, and you shouldn't buy any other high value cards right now until you watch this video about the next reprint targets on WotC's hit list.
Right now the MO for Wizards seems to be reprint, reprint, reprint. Knowing which cards are going to get reprinted, or at least having a qualified guess as to which cards might very likely be reprinted, is going to give you the upper hand when buying and selling cards. In this video we're giving you our take on the hottest 10 cards that we believe are going to be hit with the reprint hammer really soon.
So the hottest 10 cards are based on the fact that as soon as a card gets above 20 euros and it isn't on the reserve list, and if it is also a very powerful card used in the most common format of Magic, that would be Commander, you can be pretty sure that it's going to see a reprint really soon.
Before we're getting into our list of the 10 cards we believe are going to be reprinted, we would like to know what you think. So let us know down in the comment section what cards you think are likely to be reprinted in the near future. First on our list are the Allied Fetchlands, and we have been saying this time and time again. The Allied Fetchlands from the original Onslaught set are going to see a reprint, and they're going to see it really soon, and we believe this reprint is going to be in Modern Horizons 3. The Fetchlands originally was printed in Onslaught in 2002 and got the first reprint in the Exquisite Blood block in 2014, and then they have not been reprinted since this time. And in the WotC logic, this means that these cards are long overdue for a reprint. As Sophie mentioned, there are some criteria to look at when assessing if cards are going to get a reprint, and the Fetchlands, they just fill all the criteria on the list because they are really valuable cards, they are highly playable, and they are good in all formats, and of course they're also good in Commander. And we saw the enemy Fetchlands in Modern Horizons 2, so it seems like the really obvious choice to just print the Allied Fetchlands in the Modern Horizons 3. Also because these cards are going to sell that set as warm bread, because these cards are very desirable and very powerful. So in Modern Horizons 3 we are going to see the Allied Fetchlands, that is for certain.
The next card, you probably know it, it's a sneaky little Goblin, and since it was printed in Commander 2019, it has become a quick all-star in a lot of different red decks. This little card is really good if you run artifacts or your opponent run artifacts, and I'm sure you already know what I'm talking about. It is of course Dockside Extortionist. This card was already reprinted in Double Masters, but as you can see on the price, this card could definitely be due for another reprint, and this allows WotC to scoop up all of that secondary market value.
Third card on the list is dominating standard at the moment. I am of course speaking of Shieldred the Apocalypse. This card was first released in Dominaria United, and it has been an all-star in every black deck since then, and it's dominating standard. And this has also affected its price because this card has become immensely valuable and immensely expensive. And we know what WotC are going to do then if this happens. Yes, that is right, they are going to reprint it. So Shieldred the Apocalypse is without a doubt going to be reprinted. The only question is when. So before buying this card, and if you're considering selling it, you should really pay attention to if this card is going to reprint it anytime soon, and if you're not playing it and it's just lying around in your binder, you should probably sell it.
The next card that is up now is card number 4, and this card is so powerful it got banned in Standard. I'm of course talking about Meathook Massacre. It is a Bastion of Remembrance on steroids. It is super powerful as a sweeper card, and it really rewards you for getting rid of your creatures and punishing your opponents if they get rid of theirs. So even though it's banned in Standard, we could see this card reprinted in a list slot or something similar, because this card is very much still played in a lot of other formats, including Commander. This card is a powerhouse, it still has a lot of value, and I'm certain we will see a reprint really soon. If you're getting any value out of this video, please consider hitting that like button down below. It really helps out the video and it lets us know that you enjoyed these kinds of videos. Let's get on with the list.
The fifth card on the list is a card that got its first reprint in Commander Masters. I'm of course speaking about Jeweled Lotus. This is a powerhouse of a card, and it was really underseeded when it first was released, but players quickly found out just how powerful this card is. And despite having just gotten its first reprint, this card is still really valuable. It was originally released in Commander Legends, and it was the chase card in this set, and it had the most horrendous pull rates we have ever seen. but the pull rates in the Commander Master set was far better, but the card is still really expensive. You know what happens when a card is playable in Standard and has a high price? That is right, it's going to get a reprint.
The next card on our hit list from WotC on reprint target is going to be card number 6, and that is going to be Mana Crypt. This card was originally made to be a book promo for Harbor Prison Books that made books for WotC, and it was so popular that it soon became printed in more Magic sets. So we see reprints in Eternal Masters in 2016 and also in Double Masters in 2019. This card might be one of the most expensive cards outside of the reserve list, and it has been proven that it can be printed again and again and maybe once more without losing too much value. So it is still a reprint target, and we expect to see it turning up really soon, maybe 2024 or the year after. But this card is a powerhouse and players want to play with it, so it's going to get a reprint soon.
With the printing of Sword of Fortune Frontier in Phyrexia All Number 1 and the Sword of Once and Future in March of the Machine, the sword cycle was finally complete, and now we have the swords for every color in Magic. And what better way to celebrate this than to reprint all the swords once more. We saw that these swords can fetch a really high price when they featured as box toppers in Double Masters, and also as the regular swords, but especially the box toppers with the gorgeous art, they are really holding their value right now. And also having access to all the swords in the series might also just distribute the value more evenly, so it's not going to be just the very, very powerful swords like the Sword of Feast and Famine and the Sword of Ice and Fire that are going to be the high targets, because you might just want to collect the entire cycle of the swords.
This next card, our card number 8, is a land card. This card has been printed no less than 7 times and in 12 different versions ever since its release in 2012. I'm speaking of Cavern of Souls. If you run any kind of typal deck, this will be the card for you. It will add a lot of extra value, and I'm pretty sure all the blue mages will hate you, and that's always a good thing, am I right? So this card is really good, and it's really, really valuable still. It is above 50 euros, even though it has had a ton of reprints. So I'm pretty sure that WotC is figuring out that this card could probably stand yet another reprint, and we will be seeing it soon on the reprint slot. Maybe as a list card, and maybe in a future set that cares about types.
The next card is also a card from 2012. It has had 1 reprint in Jumpstart, it has had a reprint in the list slot, and it has had a secret lair. Do you know which card I speak of? That is right, Exquisite Blood. Exquisite Blood is up for a reprint, and I think this reprint might come just really soon. I believe it's going to come because this card is an enchantment, and it was not an enchanting tail slot from the Wilds of Eldraine, but we saw Sanguine Bond in it, and we know that people out there love to do the combo with Exquisite Blood and Sanguine Bond. That is just going to be an instant win. Exquisite Blood is just really nice for flavor for vampire decks. We also know that the Lost Caverns of Ixalan is just around the corner, and it's hopefully going to feature a lot of vampires, and what goes better than vampires and Exquisite Blood? That's right, nothing! So this card is definitely going to be a powerhouse. It's also a kind of valuable card, sitting just around the 20 euro mark, and it's an old card that haven't had that many reprints. So it is probably going to be reprinted really soon. Maybe even this set of the Lost Caverns of Ixalan.
You made it all the way through, and we're going to tell you what card number 10 is. We were fairly surprised to see that our favorite Bloodsucker was not reprinted in Commander Masters. This guy is from the Eminence cycle of Commander 2017. We're speaking of Edgar Markov. This is a really great vampire. He's really valuable. He is sitting very pretty around 70 euros on card market, so he is very valuable. And since he didn't show up for Commander Masters, he will probably show up in the next set that has something to do with vampires.
Our best guess is that we might just see Edgar Markov. Of course he's going to get a reprint, that is fairly certain, but he might even be reprinted sooner than you think, because we think that he just might show up in the Lost Caverns of Ixalan, just like you saw Liliana of the Veil suddenly make an appearance in Dominaria United. This set might just need it, because the original Ixalan set has gone down history as one of the worst Magic set maybe ever printed, or at least in the recent years. So players might need some incentive to buy a new Ixalan set, no matter what they're calling it. And Edgar Markov might just be the card that is going to be that incentive for players. You made it through the list, and with this list, you also have our take on the 10 cards we believe are going to be reprinted really soon, and that should give you the upper hand when considering buying or selling new cards, so you don't have to pay too high a price if the cards should suddenly fall in value just after a reprint. So that is the value we hope that you're taking with you from this video.
And if you enjoyed this video, thank you so much for watching, and please do remember to hit that like button. We really appreciate each and every one of you, and thank you so much to our YouTube channel members. You make all the difference, and the support is really appreciated. Thank you so much. We will see you in the next video.